բարելավել կայունությունը։
Thank you very much for this question. I'll be brief because unfortunately I'll have to leave after this with my apologies to the distinguished panelists. Well, first of all, I'd like to just build on what Mr. Simonian mentioned in terms of automobile agreements. One that I forgot to mention is the Tier Convention, of course, to which Armenia and all the countries of the region are party. But more importantly, where a new digital version, the electronic tier, is now being developed. Importantly, both Turkey and Iran are fully ready and are already beginning to use it, and we are looking forward to Armenia, as well as other countries of the Eurasian Economic Union, fully interconnecting to the E-tier international system, which would in turn be compatible and interconnected with the European Union's NCTS, and then that would create a single digital space for trucks to move based on paperless global standard. And by the way, that digitalization is one of the aspects of greening transport corridors and making sure that less paper is used. That's an obvious one, probably not that impactful, but more importantly, the time trucks spend on border crossings has direct impact on the environment, among other things. Now, when it comes to sustainable transport, decarbonizing transport is one area when it comes to mitigating effects of climate change, and Armenia was one of the countries that in February this year adopted a very ambitious strategy for decarbonizing inland transport at the ITC session, Inland Transport Committee session in Geneva. Mr. Simonian was there, and this is a major step forward. Basically, we are going to look at all UN regulations for transport in the next 10 years to see what needs to be changed to introduce completely new standards, especially for vehicle regulations, for introducing intelligent transport systems, and so on and so forth, multimodal transportation, and so on, to make sure that the future of transport is decarbonized. On the adaptation side, I mentioned this a little bit in my first intervention, we need to do several things. First of all, we need to map the routes and understand the resilience profile. We have, in addition to the observatory that I had referred to, also developed a stress testing methodology for transport routes, and we encourage all member states to use it before making multi-billion-dollar investments in routes. Of course, stress testing is not enough. You need to then design your infrastructure for climate-induced disasters, for various scenarios when it comes to droughts, floods, and other eventualities. And this is where we're working very closely with international financial institutions to make sure that these approaches are integrated into their financing frameworks in the standard conditionalities of their projects. And there is a very active partnership amongst the MDBs, including ADB, but also the World Bank, EBRD, EIB, and others, to make sure that climate change and environmental considerations are put centrally in their discussions with their clients, with the governments. But very importantly, the governments need to realize that these are not just nice to have add-ons, that environmental and climate-related provisions of infrastructure financing agreements are not a nice to have coming from the donors and not an annoying conditionality. In fact, this is an investment in a much more resilient transport system. It is really worth investing in it so that you can avoid much bigger expenses of, let's say, repairing a highway that has been affected by a flood, or if you take road safety, dealing with casualties, and the cost of casualties and injuries on highways is exorbitant and exuberant. And by the way, the faster the highway, the more people unfortunately die on it, unless you design it in a safe way with marking and all the necessary provisions. So investing in safety and sustainability upfront is a good idea for a country that is looking to be competitive. and not just comply with the Sustainable Development Goals, which of course Armenia also does. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll be happy to continue the discussions, and I apologize that I have to leave now.
Thank you very much and for your participation. Շարունակելով